Hi everybody and welcome back to Untitled Insider. Thank you for joining me today. As usual, what we're going to do is have a look at what's changing on the Office 365 platform. We'll have a look at the message center, see what issues have been occurring over the last couple of weeks for my tenant, and then we'll go and have a look at the roadmap and we'll see what Microsoft has finished rolling out, what they're currently rolling out, and what items have entered development. As usual, these videos are there to give you the power to take back to your users so you know what's happening in the platform, so you can better support your users, better support your customers, and hopefully everyone is just far more empowered. Today's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. If you want to show me some Valentine's love, you can do that by subscribing to my channel so you don't miss videos in the future, and I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so we've got a few things to get through, so let's just jump into the screen share, and what we'll go in first is straight on to the message center. Now please bear in mind these are message center notices in my tenant, so I might be in a different part of the Office 365 environment as you, so yours might be different, but it gives us a good awareness of what's happening on the platform as a whole. So currently my tenant's experiencing two issues. The first one is for Outlook Online, users are getting certificate prompts. Okay, so you might find at the moment users are raising issues about this. Also, search queries may fail to update in SharePoint Online, so users may see incomplete search results within SharePoint Online search functions, and I would definitely resist the urge to make jokes about SharePoint search. To be honest, it's pretty good these days, so I won't do that. Okay, so we had 18 issues closed over the last 2 weeks as well. So the first one is in Exchange Online again, an inability to update meetings. So users may have intermittently been able to unable to update calendar meetings and resource bookings. And I find where my mouse cursor is. There it is. Moving on. Okay, so can't open encrypted emails or use one-time passwords. So again, Exchange, users may have been unable to open encrypted emails or use one-time passwords. Can't access Microsoft Teams. So on the 2nd of March, no, 3rd of February, for a few hours there, some users may have been unable to access Microsoft Teams. I saw a few reports of this. This happened. I believe this was down to an expired certificate, if I'm correct. You can let me know if that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw reported. Okay, so Microsoft 365 usage reports are delayed. We've kind of seen this come up a couple of times in the past. There was an issue on the 5th of February for only about 10 minutes where users couldn't access Delve. Again, okay, it's a nice generic one. So this is about, 3 hours. Can't access multiple services in Office 365. Planner access issue. So the 4th to the 6th of February, users may have been unable to sign into Planner. Again, the 5th to the 6th, so kind of for about a day. Can't see new call analytics. Email delays to Teams channels. So this is about 5 days worth. This is quite a long one. So users may have noticed channel update delays for emails directed to Microsoft Teams channels. Users may have been unable to change the theme on newly created communication sites in SharePoint Online. So that was going on for a while, from the 27th of January to the 7th of February. So we may have seen some issues there. Microsoft 365 reports data may be inaccurate. So again, some issues with the reporting platform here, similar to the one we've just seen. Can't view shared calendars and Outlook on the web. That was the 6th to the 10th of, from the 6th of January to the 10th of February. So I think we would have seen this one before in the current. Can't view complete email subject. So users may have been unable to view the complete subject line for emails within the Outlook client. That's quite a long one that was as well. Inbox won't refresh in Outlook on the web, so user inboxes may not have seen new email until refreshing or after changing folders when using Outlook on the web. So it looks like Exchange Online has been having quite a few updates, there's quite a few there. Microsoft Teams can't leverage PSTN, create or join live events, meetings and group calls. That was just about half an hour there, so not a particularly long issue. Delays in receiving audit logs and compliance center data. Again, we've kind of seen this a few times recently. Hopefully Microsoft's working on finally resolving that. Microsoft Forms, delays when triggering Power Automate flows. So users may have experienced delays of several hours when triggering Power Automate flows from Microsoft Forms, and this has lasted for a couple of days. Unable to access Microsoft 365 services. Again, very generic. Microsoft, please give us a bit more details on these ones. Okay, so they're the issues we've seen over the last couple of weeks. So you may have exhibited some of those in your own tenants, or you may have been lucky enough not to. So let's have a look at the roadmap. So we've got a few updates here. Hopefully it won't take too long to get through these today. So launch, we've got 20 new items that have entered the launch category in the last 2 weeks. As usual, please remember that this isn't everything in the launch category currently. Not everything in the rolling out category. These are new items that have entered this status in the last couple of weeks, just so you kind of get the changes really. So you have to watch these every other week to make sure you get the full picture. Okay, so what has finished launched? And the difference between rolling out and launched means it's now available in 100% of tenants across the entire Office 365 farm. Rolling out typically means Microsoft calls it flighting. It's flighting out through the different environments and different sections of Office 365. And that can sometimes take a couple of weeks or days or up to 3 months to actually roll out to all tenants. The things you should start seeing lighten up if you haven't already. So, launched. Improvements in reporting of bad items during mailbox migrations. So Microsoft are improving migration so the admin will no longer be required to specify an explicit bad item limit or missing item limit. Instead, a migration will be assigned a data consistency score that will classify it as perfect, good, investigate or poor. A bit more detail there if you're interested. That's the basic summary. So Microsoft Teams has improvements to the sign-in experience. So a smoother sign-in experience for users who have a cloud username that is different from their on-premises username is now in Teams. Microsoft, please don't use on-premise. It's wrong. It's on-premises. These users can now sign into Teams without their username being pre-filled on the welcome screen. Microsoft Teams, Teams voice platform, so enable contact center partner integration development, remote advisor integration, Graph API for presence in beta, and Graph API for calling. SharePoint, Power Apps integration with SharePoint libraries. So now citizen developers configure and customize default document library forms with built-in Power Apps. You'll be able to use Power Apps to build custom forms for document libraries, extending metadata and rich experiences throughout SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. This is a great feature. I'm actually on a project that's doing this right now. It works really, really nicely. And in fact, the Power Apps look exactly like the edit all option on your SharePoint list. And it's great. So if you want to do sort of conditional metadata, conditional lookups, or maybe multiple screens to take people through a wizard on the edit process, you can do that with Power Apps. That works really, really well. I'm really quite happy and impressed with how that's come out. Okay, use Flow to approve hub site joins. So require an approval from a hub administrator before allowing other sites to be connected. SharePoint, we can create lists from lists. We've seen this rolling out. I think we've seen this in development previously. But this is a really cool feature. So we can actually build new SharePoint lists from other lists to accelerate the creation of a net new list based on the same structure and formatting. So we've always had the out-of-the-box lists in SharePoint, the issues list, the calendar, the contacts lists, everything like that. But now what we can do is we can actually use our own currently existing SharePoint list as the basis for creating new ones. So no save listers, templates or anything like that anymore. Just create a list from a list, point it to the source list and you get a new instance of it. Really cool feature, really happy to see that. Form customization in SharePoint lists and libraries. So this feature allows users in lists and libraries to customize the order and visibility of fields on forms. Users can click show hide fields in the property form or the details pane to perform this customization. Again, pretty cool. Similar stuff to what you can do with Power Apps, but just lets you do it directly on the form if you just want to make simple changes to the orders. So that's really, really good to see. SharePoint lists, alternate row formatting. Simple things are very effective, and this is one I really like. So sometimes it can be really hard to read large lists with multiple, lots of complex tabular items there. So just having alternate row formatting, really useful, really handy. So I'm happy to see that. I don't know why we didn't have this 10 to 15 years ago. SharePoint Lists expanded view, so it's subtle and powerful. Marketing's got a hold of this one. A feature that gives you more visual space to see and dig into data. Microsoft have introduced the ability to expand lists to fill the screen to allow you to focus on what you're doing and see more rows and columns at once. Click the expand button to see more and do more. One click clears the Chrome of the left hand navigation and site header. I haven't actually used that. I need to go and have a look at that one in practice. That sounds pretty useful. Zoom out further in the roadmap, so see an even bigger, this is project, we saw this rolling out I think last time, so see an even bigger picture when you view your project roadmaps at 4 additional levels, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years and 6 years. Microsoft Teams improved channel file tab experience. So Microsoft are continuing to bring the power of SharePoint into Teams, and the new experience in the File tab of a channel includes the ability to sync files with your computer, view more options and lifestyle signals. Additionally, you can pin and check out files. This is pretty cool. I've been using this. I noticed the sync button coming to Microsoft Teams recently. Super useful that. So I'm happy to see that experience getting better. SharePoint and Microsoft Teams get new files experience, so similar to what we've just seen. Visio Viewer app available in the iOS App Store. So the latest version of the Visio Viewer app 1.17 is now available in the iOS App Store, and following features are now included as a part of this release. So brand and icon, app icon refresh with the new Visio icons, and introduction of dark mode support, and FRE updates in sync with WXP iOS apps experience. I have no idea what that means, I'm sure somebody does, and diagnostic data and connected services experience. The general availability of communication compliance. I don't know what this is. Communication compliance helps organisations address code of conduct policy violations in company communications, while also helping organisations in regulated industries meet specific supervisory compliance requirements. So it sounds like some security and compliance features there. Office What's New Management Preview supports Office Apps Admin Role and Semi-Annual Channel. Nice long title there, thank you. The Office What's New Management Preview now supports the Office Apps Admin Role. Oh yes, this is a new admin role. We have Office Apps. This extends the feature to this new role, best suited for admins managing the Office end users experience. This is those guys in IT who are rolling out the Office applications. Excuse me. Outlook for Android reports spam and phishing messages. Outlook for iOS do not disturb settings, so set time in work personal situations when you do or don't want email notifications and reminders. Power Apps integration with document libraries, so build custom forms for any document library. We've seen that already. Activity highlights in the file hover card. So this feature shows relevant activities related to the files you're working on. If someone you work with edits, comments, or app mentions you, this activity is displayed in the file hover card with a link to the relevant activity. People who viewed on the file hover card as well. So this new file hover card feature alongside file details and actions like look inside and activity will show you who has viewed your files and pages in OneDrive and SharePoint. Okay, so that's all the new items that have finished launching over the last 2 weeks. And we have 15 items that have moved from in development to rolling out. So let's have a look at what these are. Outlook for Android, simplified sync technology. So Outlook for Android will connect directly to Exchange Online via a native Microsoft Sync technology. Move my mouse to the right place. Outlook for iOS, simplified sync technology. Outlook for iOS privacy controls. So Outlook for iOS will follow the same privacy controls for the level of diagnostic and related data that that Office sends to Microsoft established in other Office 365 apps. Bit of a mouthful, that one. Same for Outlook for Android. Okay, so new organisation switcher in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So Microsoft are they're rolling out a new feature in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center called the Organisation Switcher. The first of many changes coming for admins who manage multiple organisations. This is going to be very useful, although to be honest, I question how useful this will be. I think most admins in the Microsoft 365 world are probably going to use Chrome or Edge profiles to manage different organisations simply, but maybe to reduce the need to do that, having an organisation switcher might be useful. I would be interested to hear whether people would use this as opposed to just having different profiles in Chrome or Edge. But nice that they're adding that in. They're thinking about those consultants of us who do work with multiple tenants, which has been very frustrating for a very long time. Okay, per site, sharing links can now default to people with existing access links. So prior to this change, SharePoint and OneDrive administrators have the ability to set the default sharing link on a per site basis, and they could choose either anyone, people in my organisation, or specific people. Microsoft are now introducing support to set the default sharing link to people with existing access. I think I've seen this on ours for a little while. Update to email notifications for shared content. So yeah, we've seen this before, I think, in the in-development phase. So Microsoft is standardising the email templates to reflect consistency across the products, along with adding file previewer thumbnails and activity details. That'd be welcome. SharePoint admin, modern term store and terms analytics dashboard. I'm quite excited about seeing this. I haven't seen this in action yet, but I'm going to have a look. There's a link down there if you want to see it. So use the updated term store to create and manage terms and term sets in SharePoint to enter data consistently. The new experience within the SharePoint Admin Center offers an enhanced set of analytics to make it easier to manage your company's taxonomy and content types. And within the term store update, you'll now find analytics to view insights related to the term store, to see how the breakdown of regular and managed terms, general use of terms across your sites and apps, and any additional management suggestions to ensure healthy, useful managed metadata. A little bit marketing at the end, Microsoft. But the term store, I mean, people who use term store, this hasn't changed in years. Was it SharePoint 2010 we first got this, and it's been exactly the same. This has never fitted in with the other look of SharePoint. It's basically technology that was bought into Microsoft, integrated, and it's never really had a refresh of the UI. So I'm very excited to see how this has been updated. I haven't seen this yet, but you can be sure I'll be checking it out soon. Microsoft Teams, improved channel file tab experience. Okay, so we've spoken about this already. SharePoint team sites, next steps panel. So Microsoft are expanding on in-service help that appears at the top of a team site, where the actions that are suggested are driven more and more by the use of the site itself, giving relevant suggestions for next steps and actions based on what team members are doing. This will be useful if it works. I am getting a little bit frustrated with the number of help dialogues that keep popping up across Office 365. It's amazing how many times I can cancel and don't show anymore. Hopefully if they build some AI into it, then maybe it'll reduce them or make them a little bit more useful and contextual. So it'll be interesting to see how that personifies itself. Office What's New management is generally available. So with each release of Office, includes new and improved features. The What's New content in the Office desktop apps highlights an editorially curate. Oh, I can't read this. The What's New content in the Office desktop apps highlights an editorially curated list of new features being released for that application, with a short description and often a picture or a video to help customers learn how to use the feature. Excellent. Very useful. Thank you. That'd be good. Interactive Yammer emails in Outlook on the web. So participate in Yammer conversations without leaving your Outlook on the web inbox. Now the Yammer email notifications render an interactive Yammer thread, so you can get the full context of the discussion and take action such as liking, replying or voting on polls right from the Outlook web app. I've spoke about something similar to this before. I don't really like the idea of interacting with the contents of emails. I find it changes the nature of what the original email was, and I consider email to be a bit of a representation of some communication at the time it happened. So I don't know how I feel about these. However, saying that, when we get an approval from Microsoft Power Automate, the fact we can actually interact with the approval there and then put comments in, make the approval and then see it's been approved previously if we go back to it, I'm kind of okay with that. So maybe it's a similar scenario there and actually won't be as offensive to me as I first think it might be. Okay, so moving on, introducing safe documents. So Safe Documents is now available for public preview, rolled out by February the 28th. Instead of prompting users to exit protected view, Safe Documents automatically checks untrusted Office Word, Excel and PowerPoint files against Office ATP and Windows Defender antivirus before allowing the files to open. This feature brings the power of the intelligent security graph to the desktop, enabling users to focus on their work rather than balancing security against productivity. That would be useful, and let's be face it, users do not currently balance their work against checking whether the files are safe or not. Users just open them. So, yeah, that would be interesting. But the fact that we're going to have this automated safe document checks is definitely going to be welcome, because users just open them, they don't check them first. So, new default background image for Microsoft 365 and Azure AD login. So Microsoft are updating the default background image for the Microsoft 365 and Azure AD login screens. The new image is 1% the size of the previous default image, which will reduce bandwidth requirements and improve perceived page load times. And this change will not affect users that have a configured. Sorry, won't affect users if you have configured a custom background image in the company branding of your tenants. It's only the default image that is changing. File hover card conversations. So the new file hover card feature, alongside file details and actions like look inside an activity, will show relevant emails, meetings and Teams conversations to the individual reviewing the file hover card information. Yeah, I think this will be useful. Bringing more knowledge to these document cards is definitely going to be useful. I'm all for that. Right, so they're the new items that are rolling out. So they're the things that you should be either seeing in your tenant right now, or you should be seeing within the next few weeks. And what we'll look at now is the in development items. So this is a little bit of a longer term view of what Microsoft's doing on the platform. So maybe things you may see fairly soon, or you may not see for 6 to 12 months, so who knows. But it gives you time to start planning your communication, start understanding these features. Anything that you think is going to be difficult for users to understand, you can use this information right now to start planning how you're going to communicate that with users. So when it does come in, it's not a surprise for them. Okay, so we've got 27 items in development, and let's go and have a look at what they look like. How are we doing for time? 20 minutes, good. Should keep it under half an hour. Okay, Office 365 ATP secure by default, honouring EOP and ATP detonation verdicts. I have no idea what that means. I'm sure that is of use for people who work in that particular area. You can read the description there, I'm not going to. Copy your project. So for Microsoft project, start your new project quickly by copying an existing project instead of having to start from a blank canvas. Yeah, that would be really useful for people who have, people like us. We have a standardized onboarding process for our intranet customers. So actually it would be quite nice just to copy the onboarding project plan when new customers come on board. That'd be really useful. Automated transcript. Oops, sorry, let me start again. OneDrive for Business, automated transcription services for video and audio files stored in SharePoint and OneDrive. That's going for public preview first. This is good, so if you put a video into SharePoint or OneDrive, then you'll automatically get a transcription of words spoken in that video. That'd be useful. I think we'll still try and promote people to put things into Microsoft Stream primarily, but if people are storing videos in SharePoint or OneDrive, then that could be very, very useful. Modern list templates for issues, contacts and datasheet. So the following list templates now have the modern UI support, issue tracking, contacts and custom list in datasheet view. So that would be really good, and liking all the modern list and library stuff coming through. Microsoft Teams, private channels and Office 365 government tenants. Okay, we've had these in our regular tenants for a while. Microsoft's currently working on that for government tenants. Power BI in Teams interactive cards. So users will be able to create an interactive card in Teams by pasting the link to a particular Power BI report, and this experience will help users quickly find and take actions on their data. Good, that'd be nice. Updated feature, Microsoft 365 usage reports will add access for more administrator roles. That would be useful. Aside of all the issues we keep seeing about them being delayed or not complete, so hopefully they fix it as well as add the new feature. Outlook on the web, new experience availability for Gallatin. I don't know what Gallatin is, so Microsoft recently launched a new Outlook on the web experience for worldwide customers. This release is for customers Gallatin. I have no idea what that means. If you know, please tweet me, let me know, or I might just look at the link. I might be lazy, let me know what it means. Okay, Outlook for Android, company add-in for third-party online meetings. So companies will be able to apply a third-party add-in from Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeetings and BlueJeans and choose that provider as their preferred online meeting provider. Microsoft Teams, channel cross-posting. So channel cross-posting now supports editing a message after it has been posted. And additionally, you can add or remove channels to reach a wider audience or have a focused conversation. I believe the editing part of that means that if you edit the message in one of the channels that you've cross-posted to, it will update in all the other channels as well. That may need some clarification, but I believe that's how it will work. Outlook for Android, inking on photos. So with the integrated Office Lens technology in Outlook, simply take a photo when composing an email and use the inking palette to add your personal touch. That's good if you're taking screenshots of areas and you just want to draw a circle or a square around the bit you want to reference. That could be really useful. So, new Microsoft 365 Admin Center experience available in ITAR Cloud, so government DoD. So the new Microsoft 365 Admin Center, rest of us have seen that, we know what that looks like. Outlook for Android, and Outlook for Android is getting a lot of love at the moment. Plan my emails. So plan my emails on the go to get time back in your day with a voice-forward, intelligent experience for reading new email in your focus inbox when you're on the move or when your hands are busy doing other things. Interesting. Outlook for iOS reports spam or phishing. Okay, we're seeing this in the Android one as well. This is good. It's useful if people actually use these features when they do come out, because when you report it, what it'll do is it'll help train the AI that Microsoft uses to detect spam and phishing. So by actually reporting this stuff rather than just deleting it, we do help to train those AI systems so that we can all benefit from better automatic detection in the future. Add roadmap reports to the Power BI template. SharePoint lists from Excel. Excellent. So easily bring in data for your SharePoint list, starting by importing an Excel spreadsheet. You choose the columns and structure and then click import, and SharePoint then creates a new list with all the data and structure from Excel. That will be fabulous. My concern there will be around list column names. If you want to reuse site columns or something like that, having the ability to actually use site columns if they exist, or to have properly named and typed columns, but I think that would be really, really useful. SharePoint, edit metadata from within the document library and list view web parts. So now you will be able to edit the metadata properties on items displayed in a library or list form within the corresponding web parts, the document library and list view web parts. This means you don't need to go to the list or library itself, rather you can work right there from the web parts in the context of the SharePoint page where the web part was added. I hope there is an on-off switch for that, because sometimes you don't want to give users that ability. Enhanced Power BI tab for Teams. So with the new Power BI tab, users can add reports from the new Workspace Experience apps, and the tab also now supports paginated reports. Good. New capabilities in Shifts app, so schedule filtering, so end users will see new filtering capabilities in the Shifts app on web and desktop, enabling them to filter by team members or schedule groups to efficiently manage their schedule. Power Apps can read context from Microsoft Teams, so custom apps built using Microsoft Power Apps can now read context from the Microsoft Teams channel that they are added to. This is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to see this feature come in. This is going to add a lot of power for sort of dynamic Power Apps that know where we're at. Communication compliance now includes YAML monitoring. Pretty self-explanatory. Well, I won't say now, this is in development, remember, it doesn't now do it. It will do when that goes to rolling out. Communication compliance now detects repeat code of conduct violations over time. Communication compliance now supports more granular permissions. Outlook on the web, GA of new experience in mobile browsers for special instances. This is a GCC box of Microsoft Teams messaging extensions. We have Microsoft has a new set of messaging extensions coming to Teams. 3 new types of messaging extensions: checklists, poll, and surveys. And these will help you and your team to digitize and streamline daily business processes and get instant feedback to shared items or questions. Of course, you could always host that in your intranet homepage. New communication compliance reports. So again, we get new reports, like I said before. Hopefully we'll fix the bugs and delays on these things being sent out. Updates to sharing page in the admin center. So Microsoft are bringing the admin sharing settings from the classic sharing page to the modern sharing page. That is a really bad sentence, whoever wrote that. This will make it easier to set up and configure external sharing for OneDrive and SharePoint. Key settings include the ability to configure who is allowed to share externally, as well as the default link permissions of your organisation. And that is it. So that's all of the updates on the environment. We're bang on 30 minutes, so that's not too bad at all. I think we're starting to see a big ramp up of functionality that Microsoft's working on. Now we're after the holiday period, so quite keen to see that continue going on. As usual, please do share this out. Please share the video with anyone else you think would be find it useful. Anyone who is working with Office 365, if you've got customers, it's good to be empowered. I know you can go and read this on the roadmap yourself, but just sitting here for 30 minutes every other week just to get that overview is really, really useful. So please do subscribe to my channel. I do want to get to 1,000 users this year if possible, so share it far and wide. And please do come back in 2 weeks' time and we'll have a look at where we're at then. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.